My fiancée locked herself in a bathroom with another guy at a party, so I canceled the wedding and made my feelings about her pretty clear to people. This happened a few days ago, but I'm writing it down now. I don't know why. Dakota isn't her real name, and we were set to get married in about 6 weeks. Venue booked, dress bought, non-refundable honeymoon fully paid for, invitations sent, gift registry finished. We were up to our necks in wedding planning. She counted down the days every morning. I honestly thought I was going to marry my best friend, but I've dodged marrying a demon. Last Saturday, her friend Aitan organized a party at a lake house they rented on Airbnb, like an end-of-summer party or whatever. It's not really my scene anymore, but Aitan begged me to go. He said it'd be one last wild night before everything changed. Looking back, maybe that was his plan all along. We got there, and it was chaos right away. Think cheap liquor, Bluetooth speakers, people doing body shots on patio chairs, everyone acting like we were back in college. I tried to fit in. I grabbed a beer, figuring we'd leave in a couple of hours. Dakota started slamming tequila shots like she was trying to win a contest. Within an hour, she was dancing with random guys, completely ignoring me, taking selfies like she was single. At one point, I pulled her aside and told her she was going too far. It was disrespectful to me, her acting like that right in front of my face. I literally said, "Hey, you're getting pretty wasted. Maybe it's time for us to get out of here, or maybe I just need to leave on my own." She rolled her eyes and said, "Seriously? Just chill out, Dad." And she walked off. That was the last time we spoke that night. I knew something was off, I just didn't think it would go that far. Around midnight, I realized she wasn't around. Not on the deck, not in the kitchen. I asked about her. Someone said, "Oh, she went upstairs with Aitan." Aitan is a guy who used to be in our friend group, one of those guys who always had a thing for Dakota but stayed on the sidelines. I didn't like him, but I trusted her. I don't need anyone to tell me. I was an idiot. I went upstairs. The bathroom door was shut, loud music blasting from a phone inside. I knocked. Nothing. Said her name. Nothing. Then I heard laughing. Dakota's voice and his. I knocked harder. Total silence. I waited. Knocked again. Nothing. At that point, I just stood there. I just stood there listening to whatever was going on. 10 minutes later, the door opened. She stumbled out, laughing, hair messy, lipstick smudged, shirt buttoned wrong. Aitan came out behind her like nothing happened. He nodded at me like I was a stranger and walked away. Dakota saw me and said, "What?" Like I was the weird one. I didn't say a word. I walked past her, went downstairs, out the front door, got in the car, and left. I went back to our apartment, packed a bag. I slept on a friend's couch that night. The next day, I dropped off my key at her parents' house in an envelope with a note that said, "Wedding canceled. The cheating bitch knows exactly why. I'm done." I guess I wanted to sound cryptic in my note, but I wasn't really. Her mom tried to call me, but I didn't answer. Her sister sent me a super long text talking about how I needed to talk to her, that it's all a big mistake and whatever else. I feel sorry for the guy who ends up with her. It must be a family thing, the cheating. Maybe her mom isn't, but I still didn't answer their calls because I didn't have the energy and wouldn't gain anything by talking to them. It was over. If she wants to explain to 120 guests why there's no wedding, that's her problem. I'm not cleaning up her mess. I'm not going to couples therapy with someone who locked me out of a bathroom to lock herself in with another guy. I haven't said a word since that night. I blocked her on everything. I don't care what her side of the story is. All I know is I was engaged to someone I loved, someone I trusted completely, and she threw it all away in one night, then laughed in my face like it was no big deal. Screw her. I'm not going to be the calm, patient guy who forgives everything and just gets walked all over in return. Let her explain everything to her family. I'm out. Update 1. She showed up at my job crying, saying it wasn't what it looked like. Before I get into the update, I want to respond to the people who think I should have at least waited for her to tell me her side. What kind of side can she possibly have about what happened? The only people I think would believe there's an explanation for that are either into being cuckolded or they're cheaters themselves who need people to believe their stories. Anyway, I wasn't planning on updating this. Honestly, I thought that was it. Clean break, no contact, let her family handle all the wedding stuff while I disappear. But Dakota didn't get the hint from the note saying she was a cheater. She showed up at my work this morning. I work in a small office, a quiet place not used to drama, one of those places where people bring donuts and whisper between cubicles. My coworkers knew I was engaged. In fact, some were going to the wedding, but they also knew it was canceled. So imagine their faces when she walked in looking crazy and said, "Can I talk to you, please?" She didn't even ask the receptionist. She just walked in. I went outside with her because I didn't want to make a scene and ruin someone's donut break. We were in the parking lot, and as soon as we were out of sight, she broke down crying to prepare the stupid thing she was about to say. She said, "It wasn't what it looked like." Itan and I didn't do anything. We were just talking, and we didn't want anyone to interrupt us. I was drunk, and I made a mistake not thinking about how it would look. Please don't throw everything away over one stupid night where nothing happened. Honestly, I think my ex-fiancée must have gone to the same school that teaches stupid excuses to idiots who think other people have fewer brain cells than them and will believe their lies. Like the whole scene I witnessed wasn't enough to make me think they were getting down to business. I just stood there while she said all that, and all I could think about was her closing that door, her laughing on the other side while I was knocking, Itan's smug face walking past me like I didn't matter. So I told her straight up, "I know you've been thinking about this excuse for a long time, but it's not going to convince me. What's next? You're going to say you were studying for your biology practical exam." She tried to say something else, some kind of apology or whatever, but my growl cut her off. I told her we were done, that I didn't care what they did with Itan in the bathroom. All I knew was that we were over, and I was glad it was now. I wasn't going to look like a fool at my wedding only to find out she'd cheated on me later. She tried to argue that the wedding was paid for, that people had already been invited, and that it would be embarrassing for both of us to cancel, that people might talk about us. I told her I thought it was more embarrassing to marry a woman whose underwear falls off and makes a hole in the ground, and that here, the only one who would be embarrassed was her, when everyone found out the wedding was canceled because she was a cheating whore. Everyone in the office tried not to look when I walked back in, but it was awkward as hell. I went straight to my desk, put on my headphones, and tried to focus on anything else, but I was shaking. My hands wouldn't stop trembling. The adrenaline hit me late. And here comes the worst part. A few hours later, I got a text from her mom saying Dakota wasn't doing well after seeing me, that we should all sit down and talk things through, at least like adults. I told her that she ended things by acting like an adult, like in an adult movie. And I know exactly how everything would have looked. If I had done the same thing, she would have destroyed my life without blinking. Well, it's time to return the favor. I still have the ring. It's in the glove compartment of my car. I'm planning to pawn it because I have no other use for it. It reminds me of something cheap, even if the ring isn't, so I might as well get some money for it. Update 2. Turns out, this wasn't the first time. It seems my fiancé basically had a side mission going on this whole time, and I was just the safe bet. I thought the worst part was that night at the party. I thought the bathroom, the locked door, the look on her face when she saw me standing there. I thought that was the ultimate betrayal. Turns out, that was just the opening act. It's been a week since I canceled the wedding and cut all contact with Dakota. I've been keeping a low profile, staying with my friend, who's basically been feeding me a diet of beer and takeout until I can function like a human being again. At least something good is coming out of this. I can't complain about my diet. My phone has been a war zone. Lots of people calling or messaging about the cancellation. Since I don't really feel like talking to people, I'm just replying to texts. And I've got a default answer now. Ask the cheating bitch who does dirty things in bathrooms. I know. Very cryptic of me. Nobody is supposed to know why the wedding was canceled, but I prefer to keep things private and not have anyone find out that my ex-fiancé was cheating like a dirty dog in the bathrooms at a party. I'm leaving out the party part. Too much detail. Until now, that was it. And my phone was quieter once people started talking about my replies. Maybe they were all huddled together trying to decipher the hidden message behind my answer. Until Itan's ex-girlfriend messaged me. Her name will be Becca for my story, which I think is a name I'll remember. I'm trying to use simple names so I don't accidentally write the real ones. I'd never seen her before in my life. She found me on Instagram. Apparently we have mutual friends, small world if you don't count the ex-idiot, and she sent me a DM that said, "Hi, I think you deserve to know the truth about Dakota and Itan." I didn't see it for several hours, but since she didn't get a reply from me, she sent more messages. She sent me screenshots, messages, photos, DMs from months ago. Some were from when Dakota and I were deep in wedding planning, cake tasting, sending out invitations, smiling for Instagram, polishing my horns, while she was texting Itan before bed. One of Dakota's messages said, "Sometimes I feel like I'm marrying him because it's safe. You make me feel alive." Apparently this had been going on for over a year. It wasn't physical the whole time, but it escalated. Secret meetings, confessions, sex, the whole package. And according to Becca, the night of the party wasn't even the first time they snuck off together. There were at least 3 other times she could name. I asked her why she was telling me all this now. She said Etan had left her last week, that he was falling for someone else. Becca got pissed when she saw Dakota's name pop up again and started digging. She told me she didn't want to be vengeful, she just couldn't stand knowing I was still in the dark. I told her it seemed vengeful to me, but I thought it was pretty great that she was. That pair of disposable people deserved to have people be vengeful towards them. I thanked her, honestly. As messed up as it was, she didn't owe me anything, but she gave me something Dakota never did. Proof. I read through everything, and it wasn't pretty reading. It's the kind of stuff that makes your temperature, blood pressure, and probably your uric acid levels all shoot up, but I needed to see what I was dealing with. So I did something I hadn't done all week. I called Dakota. She answered on the first ring. She said my name like she was excited I was calling. I didn't let her say anything else. I said, I know about Etan, the messages, everything. She started crying again and said she didn't want it to happen, that it got out of control, that she didn't know how to stop it, that she didn't want to lose me. But there was just something that always pulled her back to him. I wedged my phone between my shoulder and ear so I could use both hands and started clapping, saying, wow, truly wow, that's the most messed up excuse I've ever heard. She said she was serious, that she was planning to end it before the wedding, that the wedding vows were a line she couldn't cross, and that it was like starting over, like we were at mile 0, all while trying to justify destroying my life. I figured with everything she was saying, some other nonsense would pop into her head, like maybe I was the nice guy who didn't make her heart race but paid the bills on time. I thanked her for the truth, or whatever that was, and also for the confession she'd been recording. I had Becca's proof, but with Becca's non-vengeance, I'd been thinking about some non-vengeance of my own. After hanging up, I blocked her again. Everyone tells me, you dodged a bullet. I get the sentiment, but right now it doesn't feel like dodging a bullet. It feels more like getting shot in the chest and waking up to realize you've been standing in front of the wrong firing squad this whole damn time. The ring is gone. I pawned it yesterday. They gave me $200. I used some of it for the deposit on a short-term rental somewhere else in the city. I'm moving next week. Update 3. Her family tried to set up a meeting at a restaurant and she showed up with Etan. I got up and left, but not before putting a few punches in the right faces. I've already moved out of the apartment. I'm in a small rental near downtown. It has horrible lighting and thin walls, but it's better than my ex. Right now I just have a mattress on the floor and a half-empty bottle of bourbon, but I can fix the half-empty part when I finish writing this. I also need to fix the fact that I need to find another full one. Anyway, here's what happened this week. After posting the second update, I thought that was it. I blocked Dakota, deleted all our connections, and disappeared from the wedding group chat. I even asked my parents to handle anything wedding-related. Then, out of nowhere, I got a call from her mom. I didn't answer. Then her dad called. Then her sister video called me. When I didn't answer any of them, I got a text message that said, "We want to talk, please, just a meal. Can we give you your wedding money back?" Now we were really talking, so I accepted to see what their money offer was. I didn't expect to get everything back, but at least some of it. Lunch, neutral location, public place. I chose the spot, a wood-fired pizza place near my new apartment. I wasn't going to eat some crap they liked. It was going to be my meal. When I got there, her parents were already there. Her mom got up to hug me, her eyes red. Her dad wouldn't look me in the eye. Both looked exhausted, like they hadn't slept either. They started off gently. "Thanks for coming. We're so sorry. We didn't know about that kind of stuff." Then her mom dropped this on me. "We just want to talk about what happens next." I just stared. What happens next? She says they still hope I can work things out with Dakota, that she's getting help, that she's in therapy, that she's ready to take responsibility. And then, before I could say a single word, I swear to God, Dakota walks into the restaurant with Etan. I almost flipped the table. They walked in together like nothing was wrong. I said to her parents, not her, "You guys said this was a conversation, not an ambush. I came for my money and ended up getting 2 big bags of trash." Her mom looked panicked. Her dad finally spoke. He said they didn't know she would bring Etan, to which I replied, "Okay, then just 1 bag of trash." But Dakota cut him off and said, loud enough for the whole damn restaurant to hear, "You have to hear both sides." I already heard both sides when you were in the bathroom. I heard both of you, though I'm not sure which side he was on. In front of you or behind you? Everyone was staring. The waiter froze with a tray of Cokes in his hand. Then Etan finally spoke up and had the nerve to say, "Bro, I think if you just let her talk." I cut him off. Why don't you just shut your fucking mouth, bro? Itan looked at me and said, I know you're mad because your fiancé preferred to be with me, but violence isn't going to solve anything. To which I replied, wipe that fucking smile off your face. Because if you think you're winning here, I'm sorry to break it to you. Not only are you stuck with a cheating woman who hooks up with anyone in party bathrooms, but you're stuck with someone who's still having doubts about getting back with me. Get your head out of your ass. We're here because she wants to get back with me. But don't worry, you can keep all that. It's not like I'm interested in being with someone like that. He got mad. I don't know if it was because everyone was watching or because he started thinking what I was saying made a lot of sense, so he started pushing me and saying, look, you little idiot, your fiancé was with me these past few weeks while you thought she wanted to come back, so think about it. On his third or fourth shove, which I considered assault, I punched him square in the face, which made him stumble. And when he fell, I said, stay down, you little idiot. A table nearby with some teenagers started yelling, hit him, with a chair. But that would have been considered excessive force. If that wasn't a thing, I would have hit him with the tray and the cokes. Dakota's dad told me to calm down, but I told him he could get some too, and he went outside the restaurant. I finally left. The only thing I regret is that I can't go back to that place, but if anything was broken or whatever, I hope they charged Dakota, Itan, or the pair of idiot parents who were standing there. It was a positive night. I don't know, I have to evaluate. On one hand, I probably can never eat there again. Negative point. Secondly, nobody gave me any wedding money back. Thirdly, I punched Itan and embarrassed him in front of everyone. Fourthly, I suspect Dakota's dad is a cuckold. Fifthly, I talked to my lawyer about the legal consequences of what happened, and even though he told me to stay calm, he said we can sue my ex-fiancé to pay for my share of the wedding. So I see a 2-to-3 ratio here, so I guess yes. Update 4. I haven't talked to Dakota since that ambush at the restaurant. I've blocked everyone. She was already blocked, Itan, her sister, her canary, everyone. I've been keeping a low profile, working, trying to focus on not drinking myself into oblivion every night. Honestly, I was finally starting to feel okay again. And then, last week I opened my mailbox, and there was this super thick envelope with gold lettering and no return address. I opened it and started laughing. Inside was a shiny little card that said, you are cordially invited to celebrate the engagement of Dakota and Itan. Not only are they getting married, but they sent me an invitation to their engagement party to be petty. For the next few days, I didn't know what to do with it, besides the legal implications. I had the invitation sitting on the kitchen counter. I couldn't bring myself to throw it away. Then my friend came over, the same one who let me sleep on his couch when everything blew up, saw the invitation, and without a second thought, he says, you should go. I laughed at first, but he was serious. You have recordings, you have proof. Go and ruin those idiots' engagement. So I said, screw it. I put on a black shirt, jeans, no tie. I arrived on time. I walked in like I belonged there. It was at a fancy bar with a terrace downtown, one of those places with string lights, super expensive cocktails. If I wasn't paying, I should at least take advantage of that, right? I walked around the place without drawing too much attention, waiting for more people to gather. Finally, I took out my phone and started showing it around to the guests. Some people I knew, others I didn't. I would tell them, I have a video of the future couple. Want to see it? And it was beautiful to see their faces with everything they were saying. I just gave them more context by saying things like, this recording is from a few days ago. Finally, Dakota saw me and asked what I was doing. I told her I was attending the place I was invited to. She told me I had to leave. Since she was there and I already had the lawsuit papers, I handed them to her and told her she had been served. I also took a picture of her holding the papers. We're suing for all the wedding money I paid. It's not my fault she was a cheater who caused the wedding to be canceled. 10 minutes after I left, I got a message from an unknown number. It was her, using someone else's phone. You didn't have to come? That was really messed up. I didn't reply. I just blocked it. A couple of hours later, Itan sent me a screenshot of an Instagram story from another number, but based on the message, I think it was him. A picture of Dakota and Itan from Instagram cutting a cake with a caption like, "Love wins." Except neither of them was smiling. You could tell the energy was weird, and not just because Itan got punched in the face. They turned off the comments an hour later. It's been fun, and this is just starting. Update 5. Itan and Dakota tried to get married using my wedding and even wanted to change the honeymoon tickets, but my lawyer blocked everything. Yep. Etan and Dakota's wedding has been postponed because they couldn't use the wedding we were supposed to have to save money. My lawyer stopped everything with a legal notice since the money had come from my account. It didn't cover everything, but it covered a lot of stuff. They also tried to change my honeymoon tickets, but that's not something you can do that easily, even if I didn't pay for them myself. Plus, Dakota is being sued for the costs. Once she pays me back, she can use the venue and vendors. It's like a business where she has to buy out my share to keep operating. Except for one small detail. The date has passed, and we didn't reach an agreement. So everything went to waste, and she still owes me the money. It's a real shame we couldn't reach an out-of-court settlement before the date. That way, she could have used everything, and I would have gotten my money back. But those weeks leading up to the wedding, I was very sick, with a severe case of emotional distress that didn't allow me to evaluate her offer clearly. Now she doesn't want to negotiate, and plans to go to trial. But if she loses, she'll also have to pay my lawyer. And that's not even the craziest thing that's happened lately. Not by a long shot, because despite all this, they still plan to get married, though they don't have a new date yet. Remember the pizza restaurant? One of the waiters who saw everything, and how could he not, told the owner what happened. So the owner, in a show of solidarity with me, has decided to sue Etan. He holds him responsible for starting the fight because before he arrived, I was talking cordially with Dakota's parents. And not only that, they contacted me to tell me I can come back whenever I want. Maybe they'll even put a picture of me as a boxer on the wall next to other local legends. I'm not gonna lie, I would have liked at least a free pizza to seal the deal, but I think I'm getting greedy. So Etan will have to pay, and I can go back to my place in the world. I almost forget I even have a lawsuit against Dakota. Update 6. The pizza when I went back to the restaurant tasted like paradise. It was like they had compressed the Garden of Eden into a round dough, put cheese on top, and some anchovies. I know, some people don't like them. They tell me all the time. Worse if it had pineapple. Those people deserve to be sentenced to death, and their last meal shouldn't be pizza with pineapple. There's a big rivalry between those who prefer anchovies and those who prefer pineapple. On one of my trips to the pizza place, I talked to the owner one night when he was there too. He won the lawsuit against Etan, and they made him pay $8,000 for all kinds of damages. I asked him if that $8,000 came with a free pizza for me, and he told me not to push it. But soon after, the pizza arrived with extra anchovies and an imported beer, all courtesy of the house. I know greed runs strong in my veins. I should be happy with the legal victory, but pizza is pizza. Besides, with all the times I've been to eat there since then, I think the owner will be able to send his kids to college. No joke, my love for pizza. My lawsuit against Dakota also turned out positive. I got back a large part of the deposits and other wedding expenses. Now she's free to use what was left of the wedding for... well, right? There won't even be a wedding now, because Etan found out Dakota was cheating on him with one of his friends and that she's having that guy's baby. God, this woman is completely radioactive. I also can't say it had a happy ending. The baby's father was Etan's friend, with all that implies. He doesn't want to have a kid, and the deadline for her to get an abortion has passed. I don't have anything against that man because the enemy of my enemy is my friend, but he's going to be tied to my ex for a long time. It's a sad fate that I miraculously escaped. And you know what? That calls for a celebration at a special place, and you know exactly which one.